In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu Alaikum. This is a true incident that happened to my friend's wife. She shared it herself. She said that in the 5 years after her marriage, she hadn't visited her village. Later, she revealed the reason behind it. She said, "My sister was getting married, and it was necessary for me to go to the village. I had made plans many times before, but I always postponed them because my heart just didn't feel like going. But now, because of my sister's wedding, I had to go. When I reached there, the place was full of joy and festivity. The next morning, I went out to meet my relatives. On the way, someone tugged at my shawl. I turned around and saw a fakir, a beggar-like person, standing in front of me. She wore tattered clothes and had unkempt hair. Seeing her gave me a shock. It was her, the same girl whose beauty had once mesmerized every boy in the village. She was my friend for 17 years. We were inseparable. Neither of us could live or pass time without the other. My elder sister used to get annoyed, saying, "I think she has replaced me. You're more like her real sister than mine." Her name was Seema, and she was like family to us. As we grew up, there were talks of our marriage happening within the same house, so we wouldn't have to be separated. Once at a wedding, a woman approached us and started asking for our names. I didn't think much of it. A few days later, she came with marriage proposals. Her elder son for me, and her younger son for Seema. Our families liked the proposal and agreed. My sister explained, "Now you both have a new relationship too, as co-sisters. It's a delicate bond. You'll have to live together and be very patient with each other." I told her not to worry. Seema and I are more like sisters. We're fulfilling our lifelong dream. We were friends first, co-sisters later. After marriage, life was beautiful. A year later, both of us had sons. My husband got a job in the city because he was educated. He insisted I move with him and our son, but I wasn't ready. Eventually, I gave in. Every time he came home, he brought lots of gifts. Later, we had a daughter too. My son turned 4, and the house we lived in had just a small dividing wall. Seema lived on one side and I on the other, but we were together all the time. I became pregnant again, but Seema didn't have another child after her first son. My husband insisted again that I come live with him in the city, especially for our son's school admission. Everyone said he was right, so I had to agree, though I wasn't happy. Soon after, I gave birth to another son, a beautiful child with bright eyes. My husband was overjoyed and said, "You don't know how big a gift you've given me." He said he'd come back soon to take us to the city. 2 months later, as we were having evening tea together, my brother-in-law said, "Bobby, if you leave, the house will feel empty." I invited him to come too, but he said, "I don't know how to work in the city. At least here I can earn something from the land." Seema sat there quietly, her head bowed. My heart ached, but I had no choice. Soon after, I started feeling uneasy and irritable. My health changed, and I started getting angry at my kids without reason. My youngest also got sick and cried non-stop. Seema thought it might be stomach pain, so we took him to a doctor. He got slightly better, but at night, he started crying again. None of us could calm him. We returned to the doctor, and he gave more medicines. The baby improved a bit, but after 2 days, he got a high fever. His fair skin started turning blue. We rushed him to the clinic, but he didn't improve. In panic, I called my husband. He said he would come and take us to the city to see a better doctor. I was devastated. My healthy child had withered away in days, but by the time my husband arrived the next morning, my son had passed away in my arms at Fajr. I was in a state of shock. My husband was broken too. For 15 to 20 days, I lay in bed, grieving, unaware of anything. Seema took care of everything. Just as I began to recover, my mother also passed away. I was shattered. My husband had to return to work. Then my daughter, Maheen, developed a high fever. I had already lost one child and didn't have the strength for more grief. Seema sat beside me, comforting me. She said, "I see everything. Don't worry, she'll be fine." She took care of me and my kids, staying up at night, making us food, giving medicine, and helping however she could. One night, I woke up very thirsty. I couldn't get up due to weakness. My room door was open, and I saw a shadow outside. It was digging into the soil of our courtyard. I was too weak to react and eventually fell asleep watching it. When I woke up, it was already 3 p.m. My daughter still had a fever, so Seema hadn't disturbed me. As I was getting up, I heard crying. It was Seema's voice. I went outside and saw her holding her son in her arms, crying uncontrollably. His limbs were twisted, and his breathing was heavy. I was terrified. My brother-in-law said, "Don't know what happened. He came to your room in the morning to play with the kids, but you were all asleep. Then he went out to play and suddenly fainted. Now he's in this condition." Seema was devastated. This was her only son. I told them not to worry and to take him to the city immediately. I didn't want her to go through what I had. We booked bus tickets for the next morning. Despite my poor health, spinning head, and aching body, I was taking care of my children and preparing for the journey with Seema. But that next morning, we never got the chance to leave. That night, her son, he, had passed away. I was sitting silently with heavy eyes, watching others mourn while lost in deep thought. I wondered if our children had been affected by someone's evil eye. When her son's funeral took place, Sayami fainted after crying uncontrollably. My husband had already broken down, and everyone in our household was devastated. I started getting worried for my own 2 children. I didn't have the strength to endure any more grief. My husband and brother-in-law brought Shah Sahib home for condolences. I quickly covered my head and face with a scarf. Shah Sahib was a respected figure in our village mosque and used to deliver powerful sermons at night. His voice had such magic that it captivated listeners. Now, even in grief, he was speaking in his soft, thoughtful tone, until he suddenly stopped mid-sentence. He looked around as if hearing something invisible and said, "I don't know why, but I sense something evil in the air." He started walking toward a part of the house. Reaching the earthen floor outside my room, he stood still, stared at the ground, and asked my husband to dig up the soil there. To my shock, they found a clay figurine buried under the earth, along with a piece of paper containing strange markings and the name Maheen crossed out. My heart sank. That night, I'd had a fever, and I remembered seeing a shadow moving outside near the soil. It was this exact spot. My husband and brother-in-law held their heads in disbelief. Shah Sahib turned to my brother-in-law and asked, "How is your wife's health?" He responded with distress, "She's in a terrible state." Shah Sahib said, "Can I meet her?" He agreed, adding, "Please pray for her too." Sayami was lying on the bed when she heard Shah Sahib was coming. With great difficulty, she sat up and greeted him. As Shah Sahib approached, he took a deep breath and his face turned red with anger. He said sternly, "What you have done, you are now facing its consequences." We were all stunned. Sayami suddenly burst into loud sobs and had what seemed like a seizure. Screaming, she cried, "What else could I do? Why did this only happen to me? We grew up together, got married on the same day, and even lived in the same house. But fate betrayed me." She continued, "My husband was less educated, whereas hers was successful and handsome. Even though I was more beautiful, my life was ordinary, while hers was full of ease and luxury. She had 3 children, while I had only 1 son. And when our kids started growing up, Her husband planned to move them to the city for better education and a better life. I couldn't bear it. I read in the newspaper about a black magic expert. I contacted him by letter. First, I got her elder son out of the way. Then I tried targeting her daughter too. It was I who buried that figurine, hoping to kill all 3 children so they could never leave for the city. I mixed sleeping medicine in milk for the whole family. I knew Maheen would wake up and step out. According to the spell, whoever first steps on that soil becomes the victim. But everything backfired. In the morning, my own son was missing from my side. I panicked, only to see him returning from her daughter's room, saying, "Auntie, everyone's asleep." I felt like I was collapsing. That same daughter was now crying hysterically, and I was in denial, praying what I was hearing wasn't real. Shah Sahib then said, "Those who are not content with Allah's divine plan always meet this end." I leaned on the wall, took tiny steps, and went outside. My brother-in-law shouted at his wife in disgust, "I never imagined you could be so vile." I returned to my room and started packing. My heart was broken. Sayami came to me crying and pleaded, "Please forgive me." I said, "How can a woman who tried to kill my children ever be forgiven? If you had a grudge, you could have taken it out on me. What had my innocent children done?" Still crying, Sayami said, "I didn't mean to do this. I don't know what came over me. I couldn't bear to see you have everything." I said, "I won't curse you. I don't need to. I now believe that Allah's justice is the most powerful. I'll say nothing more." And I left. Not just her house, but her life and the village. My brother-in-law divorced her. After losing her son and her marriage, her mind completely broke down. She now roams the village streets, disheveled and lost. I never returned to that village, until 5 years later, when I visited again. She saw me, grabbed my scarf, but I freed myself and walked on without looking back. After hearing this story, I finally understood why Bhabhi never wanted to return to that village. Black magic is the worst evil. It destroys both the one who does it and the one it is done to. Those who practice or commission black magic are cast out of Islam. Protect your faith. Be content with what Allah has destined for you. Respected viewers, today I want to talk about a powerful spiritual remedy against black magic. Unfortunately, many people have adopted this evil habit and end up losing their faith, heading straight toward hell without realizing it. If someone is troubling you, Islam teaches us to be patient and pray for their guidance, not to resort to magic or revenge. Here is a powerful remedy against black magic. Recite the Surah At-Tariq, the 86th Surah, 5th in the 30th juz, every evening after Maghrib for 30 minutes. Recite it as many times as you can within half an hour. Then go to sleep. In your dreams, you may see who has done the magic. If not, continue this practice daily. In addition, pray regularly. Perform good deeds. Recite Durud Sharif, Istighfar, and the first Kalima. InshaAllah, within a few days, the effects of magic will vanish. The one who did the magic will suffer such a punishment that they will weep in this world and remember that what they did was terribly wrong. May Allah guide us all to follow the right path and protect us from all evil. Amin.